Hello everyone, welcome back to another Q&A with Shadia and myself. Today we're answering a question about how we manage to keep ourselves organised. So I think in our last little webcast we talked about some of the struggles that we were facing in terms of keeping on top of our organisation in particular. And so today we're going to talk about some of the strategies that we've employed to keep on top of those assignments and regular classes that we're having to keep up with. So I guess I'll start off. I have found organisation quite difficult, always have, always will. I think early on my mum tried to employ a lot of strategies with me growing up and they didn't necessarily work because she's not dyslexic and I'm not sure she always understands how my brain works, but her sort of normal person organizational strategies don't always work for me. So I've had to get really creative during this time, particularly of online learning, trying to discover what sort of dyslexic organizational strategies are working for me at the moment. I think the main thing that keeps me motivated as well as organised is having a regular schedule and routine. And that sort of goes for weekdays and weekends as well. I think some people, everyone's going to be different obviously, but some people will benefit from keeping the same school hours each day. I'm not really like that. My brain, when it's working, really works, and when it doesn't, it really doesn't. So I think, and I'm not, Shadia's nodding, so I'm assuming she can relate to that. So I guess, having this added flexibility of being able to learn when I want to effectively, it doesn't matter. Every day is the same. It's not a weekday or a weekend. It's just can I work today or can I not work today? And so my tasks will differ depending on how my brain is feeling and how I wake up. But I think having that regular sleep and wake up time has been important no matter how I'm feeling, because if I sort of let myself sleep in as I did for the first couple of weeks, nothing seems to get done. I wake up feeling unmotivated, whereas I wake up, the same time every morning. I go for my morning walk, so I already feel kind of active and refreshed and ready to learn. I listen to a very motivating podcast so that I feel motivated for the day, and then I sit down and I do my work. I think the other thing is, particularly coming back home, I've had to really make sure that I'm keeping my sleep space and my workspace really separate. I actually have a desk in my room, and I don't use it at all. I don't think I've ever used it as a desk other than a YouTube background.
I'm the same.
Yeah, but it's just, I need to be able to work, when I'm feeling like I need to work, and in a space that is purely dedicated for work, and then sleep in a space that is purely dedicated to sleep, because otherwise when I'm trying to sleep I feel like I need to work, and when I'm trying to work I feel really sleepy. So they're kind of my top tips.
It's an interesting point about workspaces. That's something that I found challenging at first, because at university I actually removed myself from the classroom after it had finished, and I'd either go to the library or a cafe, because I find that eating or drinking something in a funny way helps me concentrate. So I'd take my noise cancelling headphones and do that. So I've tried to replicate those sorts of environments at home. So I might get a cup of tea or something, or a snack like an apple or something healthy that I know that will sustain me energy-wise throughout the day. Some of the things I do to kind of keep track of everything, I've got color-coded timetables on my computer, printed out on our calendar, in my phone, everywhere I can think of, to remind myself what's going on, so I don't forget class dates or where to find them. I also write notes electronically on OneNote. I find writing really difficult. It takes a lot longer for me and it just doesn't work. So I use a computer. For each subject in each year, I will put it tabs based on subjects, and then put my lecture notes and tutorial notes in, as well as my own notes based on topics. I think too, taking breaks is something that we often forget when we're really conscientious, but it's amazing how much that can help you with productivity. I think when you're at home all the time, it's very easy to get stagnant and lose energy and motivation. So one of the things that I've done is going out for walks with my dog, or doing training, or something that's different to just sitting down and studying. In terms of phone and social media, I've always found that a huge distraction. And so I actually have an app on my phone that helps me structure my time, and it's called Forest. And what you can do with it is...
I was just about to recommend this app. Shadia and I have been
so
laughing
good
the whole way through this thing because we often have a lot of really similar strategies that we use. I also use OneNote to take all my notes. I love the tags that you can create to organize your notes, and also the Control F function. I also use Time Tree or Forest, one of those two. It's crazy how many similar tactics we have for quite different brains. So yeah, anyway, continue on. Tell us about Forest, because it's an awesome app.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm a very funny person. I can't have too much structure, but I do need some. Apps that completely lock down any choice I have, I actually lose all motivation and can't do it. But the good thing about Forest is that it kind of gives you a suggestion of what to do. But so you can put different times in. So if you want to focus for 30 minutes, you can do that. And basically you can grow a tree in real life and in the app. And if you leave the app to do something else in that time, the tree actually dies. So it's meant to kind of lock you down and focus while you're studying. And it's really interesting how many times I glance at my phone, because when I've had it on, I've gone, oh wait, I'm supposed to be concentrating. And it's actually helped me get back into study mode. And it gives you a feeling of accomplishment in the end when you get all the nice trees and saying you focus for 30 minutes, and then I feel like I've actually achieved something when I've been able to track my time.
Shadia raises some really good points. I think it's about finding what motivates you as well. You know, for some people it's that little satisfying tick in the checkbox. For some people it's crossing it out vigorously, or for some people it's growing a tree, for some people it's winning a video game, whatever it is. But you've got to find, you know, what makes you most productive. But I think one of the key points is setting up those boundaries for yourself, and you end up being more productive when you actually set those boundaries and cutting things down into manageable chunks. I think it's very easy, particularly as neurodiverse individuals, to become hugely overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work that you have to get through in your day. So being able to cut down on that and say, actually, you know, I could spend endless time on this assignment, but today I'm just going to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And for the parents out there who are watching, or for the teachers, I think it's important that you kind of note that with neurodiverse students, I think the reasonable chunks that you think might be reasonable might not be reasonable for that person. And so it's really important that you have that that partnership where you feel like you can discuss, okay, well, how long do you think you can realistically concentrate for? You know, I often have parents who go, God, I just can't understand why I can't sit there and write the essay. You know, he'll sit there for 2 hours and do nothing. And I'm not surprised at all, because I would do exactly the same thing. So, you know, it might be a 10-minute chunk that they can focus on, but then still, if they've completed that 10-minute chunk, it's like, wow, congrats, buddy. You've gotten through 10 minutes of solid effort and concentration, and you've got something as a result at the end, rather than sitting there for 2 hours with nothing to show for it, because you're too intimidated or distracted, or, you know, you're not in the right headspace or thinking space. So it's really, really important to set up those personal and mental boundaries.
Yeah,
I think we should wrap it
really
up,
good.
because we like to have little short snippets, and we'll make sure that, you know, the conversation continues. We want you guys to be able to comment, and if you have additional questions or strategies that you use, feel free to comment them below, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time for the next webcast.